Good morning. It is Tuesday, June 2nd, 2015. This is your morning edition on I-24 News. Coming up later today, leaders from the International Anti-ISIS Coalition are meeting in Paris today to recalibrate efforts following setbacks in Iraq and Syria. Today, millions across the United States will mark the first ever National Gun Violence Awareness Day. And later on the show, we'll visit the largest defense and security exhibition ever held in Israel, ISDEF 2015. Good morning, I'm Yael Levi, and we begin in Paris, where world leaders will be meeting today to discuss the U.S.-led coalition combating the Islamic State group in Iraq and Syria. The meeting aims to plot strategy, including how to reverse recent losses after IS, Islamic State, made some of their biggest territorial gains yet, taking over the central city of Ramadi, close to the Iraqi capital, just 2 weeks ago. It's a big blow to the coalition, and now Iraq is coming under pressure to step up their fight, possibly by being more inclusive of the Sunni minority, at least those who are against the Islamic State Sunni extremists. A large Shia militia has already been employed to help with that fight. 24 high-level ministers will be at the conference today in Europe, co-chaired by French Foreign Minister Laurent Fabius and Iraqi Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry was meant to be there and attend, but he broke his leg in a bike accident, so will take part in the talks remotely, so to speak, according to the State Department. Now, to further discuss this last effort, one may say, we're joined in studio by I-24 News Middle East analyst Ali Waqid. Ali, good morning to you. Let's take a look first at the report about the latest in Iraq and actually what happened there over the course of the last 10 days as the Anbar province was lost.
Only hours after the Iraqi government announced it is going to launch a wide-scale operation to recapture areas under the control of the IS group in Anbar province, Islamic State extremists unleashed a wave of suicide attacks targeting the Iraqi army in western areas of the province, with at least 17 troops being killed. Brigadier General Saad Man Ibrahim, the spokesman of the Joint Military Command, said it was not clear how many suicide attackers were involved in the bombings, but they hit the military from multiple directions, right outside of Fallujah, which is held by IS. Ibrahim further said that the attackers used a sandstorm as a shield to protect themselves and launched a deadly wave of bombings. The broad new anti-IS counter-offensive comes after the defeat of the Iraqi government in Ramadi, a huge military setback, which received harsh criticism from Washington, who has been training and arming Iraqi forces. The recent gains of IS militants, both in Iraq and in Syria, are worrying the international community.
In Iraq as in Syria, international mobilization must be strengthened very quickly, or else we are heading towards the division of one or the other country, if not both, with new massacres and disastrous consequences. In Iraq, the fall of Ramadi is a setback for the Iraqi security forces. It confirms what we have always said: there is no military solution without a political solution.
The Iraqi government is now under great pressure to reverse the fall of Ramadi, and Iraqi Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi has vowed to recapture the city, the Anbar provincial capital, within days.
Also joining us from London is Charlie Winter, researcher at Quilliam. Good morning to you, Charlie.
Morning.
Okay, well, we're going to start a quick discussion here. We're going to turn to Ali first. And Ali, you know, we're looking at this meeting in Paris. Americans were supposed to be there. John Kerry may be there in spirit, who knows. But at the end of the day, this is a meeting on we're losing, right? They're basically losing.
Absolutely, Yael. And we heard Laurent Fabius in his speech in the French Assembly and saying that if the world will not mobilize, they will be facing disastrous consequences. And I want to tell that the disastrous consequences are already now. The Islamic State is gaining territory in Syria, is not losing any territory in Iraq. And the most important thing is that elements in the coalition, members in the anti-Islamic State coalition, are supporting the Islamic State effort mainly in Syria, and I'm mentioning Saudi Arabia and other Gulf countries, and I'm mentioning Turkey, that is not an official member of the coalition, but we cannot ignore that the huge progress made by the Islamic State in Syria recently is the result of the coordination between Turkey and Saudi Arabia, is the result of training of rebels given to the Islamic State and other jihadist elements influenced by Turkey and by Saudi Arabia, and is the result of the air covering given by the Turkish Air Force to the rebels in Syria. So here there is also to be discussed the double game played by some of the Arab countries that aim to limit, to reduce the influence and the power of President Bashar Assad, and are still flirting with the Islamic State. So the coalition is to discuss the strategy needed to fight the Islamic State, but the position and the point of view of the members of this coalition are far to be homogeneous.
And speaking of strategies, Charlie Winter with us from Quilliam in London. Charlie, you know, they speak about strategy, the coalition fighting ISIS, whatnot. At the end of the day, and you're researching this group for quite a while now, they are more organized, so it seems, correct me if I'm wrong, more organized and more better and motivated to fight their fight. Why would you say that is the case?
Well, I mean, there's a common misconception that Islamic State is something that popped up out of nowhere. It's an old movement. It's had a lot of history in the region, and it has a lot of military and strategic backing behind it that has taken a lot of time to refine. One thing that I will say about the Paris meeting is that the focus of it is going to be political solutions. I think that's completely commendable, but I think it's ludicrous to be focusing just on Iraq. I mean, we've been told that it is just going to be, Iraq is going to be the central thing, and there is a chance, and these are verbatim here, a chance that Syria will be spoken about too. But, I mean, let's just think about this properly. Islamic State is making its biggest gains in Syria at the moment, and it's going to continue doing so in the coming weeks and months. And, I mean, there is no solution for Islamic State in Iraq if there's not a solution for it in Syria as well. And I think it's ludicrous to try and separate the two entities just because there's a boundary there.
No, and one of the mistakes I think that has been made by the West, and dare I even say the Americans, apropos what you said, Charlie, you know, when I asked Charlie about the organization of this group, and the meeting in Paris is supposed to try and include or find solutions to include the Sunnis, am I not correct in saying that at the end of the day, the Islamic State are Sunni fighters, are I mean, they started from the Baathists. They were Saddam's army in many ways.
Yeah, but we're beyond this very beginning of the Islamic State. Now the Islamic State are regrouping Chechens, Tajik, Palestinians, Jordanians, Saudis, and fighters coming from all around the world. And by the way, I want to comment on what Charlie said about the fact that Syria is absent, at least from the title, the headlines of this conference, and it's not by accident. It is the compromise between the West countries and between the Arab countries. The Arab countries are focusing on Iraq in order, or the West seem to be focusing on Iraq in order not to upset the Arab countries that are deeply implicated in the conflict in Syria, in supporting some rebels group, because you cannot discuss of the Islamic State only in Iraq when we know that the traffic between Iraq and Syria is essential and crucial for the arms supplying, for the weapons, for the fighters supplying, and the fighter passing from the two countries. And it seemed from the very beginning this conference is a compromise between the position of the Western countries and the position of the Arab countries, mainly Saudi Arabia, because we cannot discuss the Islamic State without Syria and Iraq. The name of the organization is Islamic State in Iraq and Syria, and it is crucial to see what are the steps taken by the members of this coalition in order to try to clarify what is the strategy, because for the moment we are not identifying any united strategy. If the United States is not enthusiastic to go into direct application in this war and try to find a solution that take into consideration also the other minorities, the Saudis, the Turks, the Qataris are deeply involved financially and militarily and by their intelligence services, and this have a huge impact over Iraq also, because the Iraqi Shiite are seeing what will be the fate of the other minorities in Syria, and they will understand that they need to fight side by side with the Syrian regime, and this is what they are doing. There is an operation room between the Iraqis, the Syrians, and the Iranians, and this shows that the strategy of both the Islamic State and Iran, Syria, and Iraq, with some support of Russia, make no difference between Syria and Iraq.
And Iraq. No. And I think one of the main points, and Charlie, if you're looking at, because you're researching the group itself, traffic on the web, or information over the course of the last several days. I am assuming that, that the group is organizing, gaining more traction, but have there been any kind of information coming out of ISIS over the course of the last several days in terms of their gains on the ground?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's a constant stream of information about Islamic State gains, and especially at this time of year coming up to Ramadan, which is also the first anniversary of the Caliphate Declaration. There's a lot of propaganda coming out of the region talking about Islamic State's gains in western Syria now, so not even eastern Syria, but moving southwest from Palmyra, moving northwest from Palmyra. There's been an offensive on northern Aleppo, and that's particularly dangerous because it's drawing in all manner of forces from around Syria to attack both the Islamic State. And the Assad regime is, of course, taking the opportunity to make some gains there as well. So there is a constant stream of this kind of information of Islamic State triumphalism in Syria. What we're seeing in Iraq at the moment is a similar sort of stream of information, but a lot more withdrawn. I mean, it's not making as big gains in Iraq, and that is worth noting.
And definitely. Definitely worth noting in that respect. Ali, just quickly to conclude, at the end of the day, these people, the high-level meeting in Paris, what does the coalition need? It's the coalition of the unwilling. I mean, the way it's working right now, it's not going to solve the situation when it comes to fighting ISIS.
First, it needs to make a selection between its own members, who is against and who is for fighting the Islamic State wherever it is and wherever are the political interests. Because we are focusing on Iraq, we are neglecting Syria. On the other hand, the Islamic State is to become the main rebel group and jihadist group in Libya, and he is playing a huge role also in North Africa. And Bill Mukhtar, the leader of Al-Qaeda in North Africa, said that his organization is becoming part of the Islamic State. The Islamic State is gaining territory and is gaining influence almost all around the Middle East, and not only in Syria and in Iraq, and this to be discussed.
And sadly, I think as Charlie mentioned, it's almost a year to the announcement of the caliphate, so to speak, and they are winning. Ali Gouakadi with me in studio, thank you for being here this morning. And Charlie, obviously in London, always a pleasure to have you with us as we move along. South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham is the latest Republican to throw his hat into the party's race to the presidential nomination in the United States, announcing yesterday that his 2016 bid. The 59-year-old former colonel is the 9th Republican to announce his candidacy, with more expected to do so in the near future. Now, though they may fight bitterly amongst themselves over a slew of policy issues, one area that we are unlikely to see much divergence on is their attitude to Israel. That would be the Republicans and Israel, a love story, so to speak. If anything, the Republican nominees will be competing over who is better suited to fix Washington-Jerusalem ties in an effort to play off President Obama's rocky relationship, and that's a mild understatement, with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. For example, here are a couple of tweets Lindsey Graham posted just minutes after his announcement. To our friends in Israel, I will never abandon you. I will always stand firm in supporting the one and only Jewish state. That's actually almost playing into Netanyahu's words. So before we start breaking this one down, let's first hear what the new Republican candidates, the slew of them, said regarding Israel and the United States.
Israel is everything we want that region of the world to become. We wish every nation in that region was a real democracy, a vibrant one. We wish every nation in that part of the world had a first-rate economy that provided upward mobility to everyone. And we wish every nation in the Middle East was as strong an ally of the United States as Israel has been. This is the extraordinary story of this small but important nation. And this country must continue to be their strongest ally in the world. But they face extraordinary threats to their safety, to their security, to their existence.
Instead of a president who boycotts Prime Minister Netanyahu, imagine a president who stands unapologetically with the nation of Israel.
The Israeli people are in a dispute about their survival with the Palestinian people. The Israeli people gave land to the Palestinians. In return, they got 10,000 rockets, and you want them to do it again.
I'm proud to support Israel, America's longtime friend and ally in the Middle East. Israel's cafes and buses are bombed, towns are victimized by hundreds of rockets, and its citizens are attacked by Palestinian terrorists. It's time we took a stand for Israel by standing up to the enemies of Israel, the enemies that murder Israeli citizens. That's why I proposed a bill called the Stand With Israel Act.
We face real threats from radical jihadism in the form of savage groups like ISIS and state terrorists like Iran. But we put more pressure on our ally Israel to cease building bedrooms for their families in Judea and Samaria than we do on Iran for building a bomb.
To provide us some of the nuances of what we can expect from the upcoming GOP race, we are joined, and so very, very happy by that, in studio by co-chair of the Republicans abroad in Israel, Mark Zell. Mark, good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
With me in studio to help make sense of all of this, and for me not to fight too much with Mark, is I-24 News diplomatic correspondent Tal Shalev. Tal, good morning to you. Good morning,
Ann.
I'm going to start with the lady in the studio.
Tal, pleasure.
Eyes from Jerusalem onto this American race. I'm assuming, and I'm going to say this, that because it feels as if Benjamin Netanyahu has waged his bet that the next American president will be a Republican one. But, and that's my theory, I know, I'm saying this as a journalist, but the eyes of Jerusalem, I'm assuming, are very much on this race.
Well, I think the eyes of Jerusalem are at the moment on other things, but yes, Jerusalem is looking forward to the 2016 presidential race. Netanyahu in 2012 didn't hide his preference. That was when he waged the bet. That was when he bet on Mitt Romney. I do not know how this will play out this time.
What?
It could be that Netanyahu will be more careful, not to take a side, not to start the relationship with a next president if it is a Democrat on the wrong foot. But it's clear that the 2016 race is critical from Netanyahu's point of view because his life with a Republican administration is going to be much more easier, and we see that by the statements that are coming out from the candidates. So this is something that will make when we see the Democrat administration, it's not only personal, it's not only about Obama and Netanyahu, it's not only about Obama's worldview versus Netanyahu's worldview. There is something from Netanyahu's point of view that will make, especially on the two-state solution, that will make Netanyahu's life much more easier if he gets a Republican administration.
If he gets a Republican administration. Mark, I want to ask you, as head of the Republicans in Israel, I have to start first with Rand Paul. What was it, the Stand With Israel Act?
Yes.
What would that be?
Well, I think he was, I'm not actually that familiar with the legislation, but it's the one piece of legislation that he's offered, which is trying to rectify his standing on the Israel issue. And typically, he's been looked at as an isolationist. This is not good for Israel. We don't need a president that's going to disengage from the world affairs. We have that now with Obama for different reasons. Rand Paul's policy in this area has been problematic. I think he's tried to kind of even the scales a little bit with the Stand With Israel statute or legislation. And I know you saw from the VTR that he also is trying to make amends in his public campaign. But Rand Paul is really not the issue. Rand Paul is an important player, but he's...
But as we're talking about, let's revert back to the issue. You just said that, he's helping, that President Obama has disengaged from world affairs. There are those who will argue, there are critics that will say that actually he's just engaging with the world in a way that is not appeasing, for example, or actually the critics that will say it here, that is not appeasing to the Netanyahu administration. And it is no secret that the agenda of both the Republicans and the Netanyahu administration, right-wingish, is one that is, is joined at the hip in many, many, many ways. Is that, though, good for the American administration, whomever they may be, around the world?
Well,
and in this region specifically.
Let me focus on the Obama foreign policy. This is something that I think that many folks here in the country don't necessarily appreciate. Obama's foreign policy is not just about Israel, and it's not just about Iran. It is about changing the American footprint in the world. This is something he's decided to do before he came to office and when he came to office, and you see it every place. It's kind of symbolized by this notion of leading from behind. I mean, America is not to be the policeman of the world. It's not to be even the first among equals. It's to be simply a player with the rest of the international community. That policy has led to a series of disasters, not just in the Middle East, the relationship with Russia, the Ukraine crisis, the handling of the Chinese in the South China Sea, North Korea, Africa, Latin America. All of these things, all of these areas, and the Europeans. The Obama administration has consistently, because of its very clear foreign policy,
but
withdrawn.
That's, you know, when it comes to Israel itself, it is no secret, and actually, Tal, I want to ask you this, that you know, just to paint the picture, that the Republican Party has actually painted itself as the true friend of Israel, as opposed to the Democrats who are supposedly against it.
Well, traditionally, Israel didn't create such an emotional focus for the Republican Party. This is true, and this is we're seeing a very pro-Israel race in which many of the candidates, even the ones in such early stages, many of the candidates are just actually competing on how much they love Israel. But just to bring it back to the point, there are two big reasons that. Three big reasons that help this. One of them is Obama's foreign policy and Netanyahu and Obama's feud. That creates a good platform for Republicans to distinguish themselves from the Democratic Party. B is that we have a rising evangelical force inside the American constituency, and Netanyahu is extremely popular amongst this public. I think it's 67% of Republicans, and just said in a recent poll that they actually favor Netanyahu over their own president. So understand how popular it is. And the third thing that we should point out is the impact of big pro-Israel donors on the race. They're pushing the candidates. It's the biggest one, the most known one is Sheldon Adelson, and that's why it's been called the Sheldon Adelson primary as something very but it's not only Adelson. There are a lot of big pro-Israel donors inside the party that were very substantial also in the 2014 Senate campaign. So this is one of the reasons that is pushing the Republicans to be so pro-Israel.
And then, and Mark, then to ask you, because I know that, you know, you will sit here and you firmly believe that the Republican Party cares genuinely about Israel. But that said, there's also big money involved, as Tal just, mentioned. It's the Jewish vote also that's important in the primary race, and isn't that something that also stands behind it?
Well, first of all, the Jewish vote is not that important in the primary race. The Jewish vote has become, the majority of Jewish voters are living in states that are clearly going to go Democratic and are not going to influence the Electoral College. There will be the Jewish vote in certain states like Florida, Ohio, which are swing
very
states.
important states, though. I mean,
okay, but
let's
not overstate it. I mean, as Tal said, the evangelical vote in these states is far more important. And if the Republicans do their job and get the evangelical vote out, they'll win. I mean, they didn't succeed in doing that in 2012. If they do it in 2016, they'll win in those states. Now, Israel is important for those voters, and I'll tell you something. It's not about money. I mean, the money there are pro-Israel donors like Sheldon Adelson, like Norman Brayman and others, who have their particular views, but the candidates are not pandering to them. I mean, the public, the Republican constituency is strongly pro-Israel, and it's not because of money. It's because of their ideological point of view. It's because of the way they see the commonality of interest between Israel and the United States, religiously, politically, historically, morally, and so on. This is what's going on. What's happened in the Democratic Party, and there are strong supporters of Israel in the Democratic Party, but the party itself, and led by Obama, has moved to the left in a way, and Israel doesn't play into that new dialogue in the Democratic Party. And a lot of people there are just not concerned about Israel or even antipathetic.
I mean, I will have to take the stand of defending the Democratic Party, across from you in that respect, is there are those who will argue, okay, that's not true, that Obama just has a different policy that does not jive with Netanyahu's agenda, so to speak, or with his platform, or with the platform that he used to win an election, whatnot. So there's that. But before we continue that, Tal, I'm wondering with you, and I need to just...
Yeah, I mean, you making a statement and it's just hanging out there. I mean, you're really going to sit here and defend the Democratic Party? I'm
not going to defend it. I'm going to give you the contour of that. But at the end of the day, the Democratic Party is in power in the United States right now. President Obama is the one governing the country.
They control the White House. They have lost both houses of the Congress in the last election, and they're very likely to lose the White House in 2016. It'll be an interesting and a very robust race. But the American public doesn't agree with the Democrats on Israel or Iran.
That's a sweeping thing to say, the American public.
Well, take a look at the polls, Yael. I mean, I don't make them up. And they're 70% support Israel, 60-some% support sanctions and further a more aggressive policy on Iran. I mean, that's the public is concerned, deeply concerned about the way this administration has conducted American foreign policy.
But the public here is concerned, and that's just quickly the last question, Tom. The public here is concerned about the relationship between the United States and Israel, given the last, nearly 8 years of really bad relations. Has it gone so far that it has to be a Republican president to mend relations between Israel?
I don't think so. I think that the portrayal of the relationship between Netanyahu and Obama, as substantial as it is, has not yet ruined or damaged the bipartisan nature of the relationship and the strength of the relationship. I do think Hillary Clinton, assuming she will be the Democrat candidate, will have to have a very delicate political dance that she has to try and perform. Because on the one hand, she has this whole Republican Party, very pro-Israel on the other side. So she has to defer from Obama's policies. But on the other hand, she was actually part of them, and she cannot actually go out strongly against them. So I think that it's going to be very interesting from this point of view. But Israel is coming up as a campaign issue, and for Hillary, that will also be a challenge, especially given what's happening on the other side.
I agree with Tal on that. I mean, you have to remember Hillary chewed Netanyahu out for about 45 minutes over one of the building apartments in northern Jerusalem.
Folks, sadly, because I could continue this forever, and we're all friends around this table.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, we're all the time that we have for today. When we get back, we will visit the largest defense and security exhibition ever held in Israel, ISDF 2015. Stay with us. First, the news. I-24 News Morning Edition. Welcome back on this June 2nd, 2015. An important day. Why? Because I'm joined once again by two men in the studio. My favorite way to be. Thank you very much. Amir Oren, before I introduce you, we are moving on straight to our next topic. More than 12,000 visitors around the world, 12,000 around the world, are scheduled to attend the ISDF Annual Defense and Security Expo, which starts today in the Tel Aviv Trade Fairs and Convention Center. The exhibition, featuring hundreds of companies representing the cutting edge of Israel-made battlefield technology, providing solutions to the military, police, and special forces. Among the special workshops being held is one drawing on Israel's lessons from Operation Protective Edge, one dedicated to the future soldier, and another on green military technologies. And of course, we're going to go first straight live to that amazing expo, where we're joined by Tal Heinrich. Yeah. Tal Heinrich, who is there, alive and in the flesh. And basically, take us through, Tal, what you are seeing and who is there and what is being seen there.
Hello, Yael. Good morning. So the ISDF, Israel Defense Exhibition, as you said, it is the largest defense exhibition ever held in Israel, but is more than an exhibition since it is also recognized as a summit of business and defense and a trade show for the defense and security industry. So this event basically brings together decision makers and practitioners from all around the world for an enhanced dialogue and strategic cooperation. Now, with me here is Hart Feldman, the managing director of this event. Hart, talk to us in numbers. How many exhibitors are now over here? Where are they coming from, and who's the audience?
Well, we have, at this 7th edition of ISDEF, we have exhibitors from 24 different countries. We have visitors from around 90 countries. We'll have upwards of 70 official delegations from all over the world, including ministers, deputy ministers, chiefs of staff, commanders of the Air Force, Land Forces, and Navy attending and participating in this event. We're looking at around 12,000 visitors over the course of the next 3 days.
And what is the focus of the solutions that we're seeing here showcased?
Well, I'm happy you asked that. This event really, the significance of this event is that it reflects what's happening in in Israel, which right now you're seeing a trend all over the world. They're needing those same solutions that need to be fulfilled for counterterrorism, homeland security, homeland defense, and defense purposes. So here you're going to see a lot of focus on interoperability, which means a mix between the defense and security product systems and solutions. Meaning that you're also going to have an increased opportunity for business, for companies participating, Israeli and foreigners alike, and the end users and officials participating, they are fulfilling their national security needs.
Thank you so much, Harlan. And I know that over here behind me, I don't know if you can see the system. It is called ABC system, Area and Border Control System. And Rafael Kaduri is here with us to present the system. So this is an Israeli development, right?
This is a kind of Israeli development, yes, and this is a kind of a cellular observation system. The meaning of this system is to put it in a very challenging area and do a kind of intruders detection. The system detect, identify, locate and track any intruders within the range of the system. By that we can control borders, we can control sensitive area like mines or oil field and things like that.
Sounds interesting. Thank you so much. So, as everybody was saying here before, around 80 delegations are expected to be here from places like South Sudan, Australia, United States, Czech Republic, Moldova, many other countries.
Tal Heinrich, fabulous, fabulous stuff out there. I mean, I wish I could see you with a helmet on, but thank you for being there this morning for us. I am joined in studio by Amir Owen, Senior Military Affairs, Senior Defense Analyst for Haaretz newspaper. I'm going to try and contain my excitement from all the amazing, snazzy things that we just saw. How important is this expo for the business, and I'm saying this, for the business of Israel selling arms around the world?
It's very important. First of all, it's a great place to refresh your inventory of gadgets and gizmos, pens, notebooks.
We saw, what was that, like a gun within a gun?
And yes, perhaps you can get a gun, or at least we saw some knight in shining armor in the back. So bring your van and...
bring your van and put it on. But touching quickly, though, what is so cutting edge about the things that Israel has developed as of late to control borders, if I am to quote what was said in that interview?
Israel has the advantage, along with the disadvantage, of being in constant combat and being in the cutting edge of homeland security problems too. Not only conventional battles with armor, air, artillery, and so on and so forth, but also, as was said here, intruders, infiltrators, and other problems caused by organizations or even lone wolves.
How much money does Israel make from selling arms around the world?
Israeli companies, it's hard to say whether it's Israel, but Israeli companies have sold some $5.6 billion last year.
Right.
This is a decline. It used to be even higher, 7.5 or so billion a year, because the defense industry worldwide is in contraction. Unfortunately, there are not too many wars to go around. And, well, of course, this is tongue in cheek.
That you're saying this facetiously, but I mean...
Of course.
Yeah.
And the competition, even within the Israeli industry, not to mention Israeli industry vis-a-vis the American one, Russian, British, French, and so on, is fierce. And the Israeli Defense Ministry has to serve as a referee between the competing Israeli industries, setting rules and regulations so that if they do compete in a certain market, the Israeli government does not interfere. And also there is the problem of commissions, which is another word for corruption.
No, but Israel is also not a signatory to the Arms Control Pact, which, obviously I'm assuming it cannot be because it still does. You say, no, it's hard to say it's Israel. If it's Israelis companies, I have to counteract that and say at the end of the day, they're coming out of here. But there's also the Defense Ministry. It objects to transparency and openness about any kind of arms sales, don't they?
Yes, because the recipients, countries especially in the third
world... Who are the
world,
recipients? Who are they?
The recipients are countries, and when we say countries, it's regimes who want these weapons, first of all, for internal security against their domestic enemies. They do not want, at times, to be known to have ties with Israel, but it's important to mention two facts. First of all, whenever an Israeli defense industry sells arms abroad, the economy of scale enables the Israel Defense Forces to get it cheaper. And this is better for the Israeli serviceman and the Israeli citizen because it is going to save Israeli money and blood, which is all important. Right. The other thing is, of course, employment. It's a very important sector of the Israeli economy. This is no reason just to foment wars, but as long as war is a human fact, Israel doesn't have to step aside and let others compete in it.
Sadly, war is always going to be a human fact. I'm assuming that business is booming, but transparency aside, we could discuss this forever. Amir Oren, you are locked in studio with us. We're not letting you go.
I want my gizmos.
You want your gizmos? I want one of the hosts. But
well, okay.
I said that, yes.
To each his own.
To which his own, to which his own. The gun, the blonde. But Amir, with me in studio as we move to Ami Kaufman, the man, the bow tie.
That's right.
What color are we today?
What do you call it?
Fuchsia? I think that's not fuchsia.
No,
this is something to the wine-ish kind of Bordeaux-ish. Yeah.
Bordeaux-ish, I like.
Bordeaux-ish.
Let's stick with that one.
Yeah.
It's more bordellish.
It's more Bordeaux. We are embracing the French within.
Touché.
Yes. So, for the headlines you missed, the news you missed while scanning the headlines. Take it away.
Okay, so as we know, German Foreign Minister Frank-Walter Steinmeier. Did I pronounce that correctly? Is that
The which one?
Frank-Walter Steinmeier. Is that?
Steinmeier, natürlich.
Yeah, okay.
Das gut.
He visited Gaza and the south of Israel yesterday, and I thought we'd take a look at how different media outlets cover the story: an Israeli, a Palestinian, and a German media outlet.
Brilliant.
Just to see how it's done. Let's start first with Ynet. Ynet, as we know, is a kind of one of the largest, probably the largest news site in Israel. It's I guess you could call it centrist.
Centrist and very influential.
In the recent elections, it supported the Zionist Union, which is left-leaning, of course, and they're
more
probably
of dislike of the other side, I think, rather than love of the
Right, and trying to gain back probably its readership with a new anti-BDS campaign that you can see in the Yediot Ahronot and Ynet.
Very true.
So let's take a look at their headline. They say that the German FM in Gaza, Israel must ease the blockade, and Hamas must work to end the rockets. So they're kind of putting it on a level playing field. The Palestinians and the Israelis both have to do things so that things can come together again.
Nice. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck with that. So. And after that, let's take a look at the WAFA, which is the Palestinian agency, which has some quotes that the Ynet report did not even bring in at all. And Steinmeier said that during the visit that the situation is heading towards an imminent outburst, that the situation there is a barrel of gunpowder. These are things that did not show up in the Ynet report at all, but it's very
no, it's very indicative. It's very indicative, and it's quite. I don't even want to say sad. Everything is sad in this region, as I'm sure Amir Oren will agree with me.
Yeah. And of course, the Palestinians
I always agree with you.
You must.
Yeah. Palestinians said nothing about the rockets. Which is what Steinmeier said.
Those don't happen as well.
And let's finish with the Deutsche Welle, which is kind of, I guess you could call it, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe like the BBC of Germany.
Yes, Deutsche Welle would be,
And it's a perfect example of how Germany has to try to tiptoe between things. They give a headline.
Let us not forget, they're also German.
Which is a non-headline. The headline is, Germany Steinmeier visits Gaza Strip. That's it. It's like a non-headline almost. There's nothing there.
Oh, that's great.
But they do.
Today's Tuesday.
Thank you, exactly. Today's Tuesday.
That's good.
But they do.
Beanstalk, actually. Okay.
Inside the item, they do show a little frustration, I think, with Israel about how the situation in Gaza is really deteriorating and something needs to be done. But I think the headline.
The Israelis, I'm saying, yes.
So that's enough of
No,
Germany.
yeah, fascinating on that stuff. Okay.
The Forward has a really, really nice exclusive out today. It's really amazing. Sheldon Adelson, the billionaire, Jewish billionaire in the States who funds a lot of Republican candidates,
Who most likely, I'll say it, who most likely will decide who the next Republican candidate will be.
Yeah, he's a kingmaker, definitely. Some people call him that. He is going to host an anti-BDS summit in his hotel, The Venetian, in Las Vegas, with many, many other philanthropists and billionaires, such as, for example, Chaim Saban. Now, Chaim Saban, this is an interesting kind of cooperation here because
Chaim Saban,
he supports. First of all, he supports mostly Democratic nominees, and here he is coming together with Sheldon Adelson to fight a common cause of fighting the BDS campaign, which is gaining traction around the world. And there's some other famous
in Vegas, no less.
In Vegas, some other famous rich people: Adam Milstein, Canadian businesswoman Heather Reisman.
Wow.
I just think it's a really, really interesting exclusive that they have.
I'm still stuck on the Venetian in Vegas.
Yeah, they're going to have fun, aren't they?
They're going to have great fun. I mean, and you know something, they usually say that whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But it's interesting that it's anti-BDS because for these guys, BDS means billions of dollars in cents.
Well, can I write that down?
Yeah, no, we're stealing that one. Okay.
And afterwards, they're all going to see Britney Spears, right?
Bingo. Yeah, Britney. Oh, God.
Okay, I love this one because it has two things that I love dearly. One of them is the FIFA corruption scandal, which I love to hear about.
Yeah, it's the best one that's in town.
And the other one is a place that I want to work in besides I-24.
Of course.
The Onion. I've always wanted to work in The Onion.
Love The Onion.
So we have Jack Warner, who was one of the people that was arrested. He's a FIFA official from Trinidad, and he used The Onion to show about the corruption allegations that were wrong against him. He put up a video on his own website, and he used The Onion as if it was a real news item. Now the headline of The Onion was it was posted last Wednesday, and it said FIFA frantically announces 2015 Summer World Cup in the United States, which is of course.
Never going to happen.
Never going to happen.
Yeah,
and he
because
says
football in the United States is something completely different. Yes.
And said this is double standards by America. How dare they accept the FIFA World Cup after they're
They're that brilliant.
So it's brilliant.
Yeah.
And we have in The Guardian. I don't know if I'm pronouncing the name of this bridge right. The Pont des Arts Bridge.
The Pont des Arcs, the bridge, okay.
Yeah, I think we have some footage of this. It's a bridge where people that are love couples, they go and they put locks on the bridge, these padlocks, they sketch their initials on it. Now, it's been done too much. There are now 45 tons of padlocks on the bridge. And Parisian authorities have decided that, okay, it's actually, they've seen some cracks, I think, in the bridge. They're going to take, here we can see, I think, that they're going to take some stuff off.
That's ridiculous.
45 million tons of
I
padlocks.
love you so much, I'm going to kill you. Yes.
Now the tradition is so widespread, it's starting to spread actually to the Eiffel Tower, apparently. People are putting locks on the Eiffel Tower as well, and they're saying that we have to stop this.
No, they have to stop it, really. Keep it to yourselves, seriously.
Back to Goldilocks.
Yes, Ed.
And lastly, this is a nice one from Florida. You might like this one.
Please.
What happens when a guy takes an Israeli missile, puts it in his car, and drives down Highway Number 1 in Florida?
What's an Israeli?
Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing whatsoever.
Okay, dissect this for a second.
This is from the Palm Beach Post.
Oh, I love it. Why, yes, that is a missile.
This is a guy called Tom Madden. He had a missile which is apparently from the Six-Day War. Now, he says this was...
we're going to mark an anniversary.
He got this missile from an elderly widow who lives in Miami. And the woman...
Stop. How did she get the missile?
Well, how did she get to be a widow?
Okay, yes.
The woman's deceased husband won it years ago at a Palm Beach auction to benefit the Israeli military. And he says, listen to this, she got tired of schlepping it around. So he took it off her hands.
Oh, my Lord. No, there's so many things wrong with this.
Yes, but he must have been a white guy. Otherwise, it would have been stopped by the police after 5 years.
Listen to this. The police actually went by his car
and didn't do anything. God bless the United States, folks. That's all the time we have. I am happy to see you. It's not a missile in my pants. But when we get back, the United States does mark the first, basically, anti-gun day awareness. And we will take a closer look. Now the news. Welcome back. It is still Tuesday, June 2nd, 2015. This is still the morning edition on I-24 News. Thank you for staying with us. It was defense, it was guns, and staying on the issue of guns. For the first time ever, the United States is marking today, June 2nd, National Gun Violence Awareness Day. That's a big thing in the United States. Under the slogan, Wear Orange, the color symbolizing the value of human life. It's the color hunters wear to protect themselves and others in the woods as a way to take care of their own life and the lives of others. A couple of years ago, teens on the south side of Chicago asked their classmates to wear orange in honor of the June 2nd birthday of 15-year-old Hadia Pendleton, who was shot and killed just 1 week after she marched in President Obama's second inaugural parade. Today is June 2nd. That girl would have turned 18 today. Now, millions of Americans are coming together for the first time ever to call for a country free of gun violence. Wearing orange is a symbol for the value of human life. Let's first take a look at the next clip from the campaign and see what you will be wearing orange for.
I wear orange so that no other parent has to lose a child. I wear orange for my sister Nina and for the countless others who are killed by gun violence every day.
I wear orange because I lost my 14-year-old son, Akil Christopher, to gun violence.
I wear orange because gun violence is going to continue if good people continue to do nothing.
Well, first of all, I'm joined in studio by I-24 News senior editor Ruthie Sinai. Ruthie,
good morning
to you. Ami Kaufman with us in studio as well.
Good morning.
And from Los Angeles, Margot Bennett, Executive Director of Women Against Gun Violence. Margot, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Margot, I want to, tell me to begin with, because I'm going to state my opinion on this, and I'm all for a day as such in the United States. But remind us all here in the Middle East, where we know guns so well, but why is this such an important day in the United States today and so groundbreaking in that respect?
Well, because over 32,000 American lives are lost every single year in the United States to gun violence. And we've had enough. So we're coming together to show all of our communities and our policymakers and legislators in Washington, D.C., that we care about this issue and we want them to care too.
Margot, are you a little bit disappointed, and I'm asking this as an American citizen as well, because over the course of just the last several years, and Lord knows over the course of so many years, we've seen many children lose lives due to gun, maybe lack of gun control in the United States. There's a president in the White House who has promised to try and reverse, be it laws and legislations when it comes to gun control, and that has not happened. Why?
Well, it's very disappointing, but the voices of a few are exceptionally loud here in the United States, and those few are the gun lobbyists and the radicalized gun owners, and they seem to have a disproportionate say in what our country decides to do.
Now, Margot, please do stay with us. Ruthie Sinai, I'm going to turn to you. A disproportionate say, but such a very strong say. Because this is something that, if we're looking at what happened in Connecticut, I think it was 2 years ago?
Sandy Hook.
Okay, in Sandy Hook, 26 people, most of them children, slaughtered, I'm going to say slaughtered, by, a deranged young man who walks in with a gun that he found in the house of his mother, who had an array of guns, who many Americans do have. But this is legislation, and Lord knows this day is very important. Still, then again, playing devil's advocates, Americans love their guns. Why would this ever change?
All right, look, the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights are really two of the most amazing documents ever written. And the right to own, we have to remember this, the right to bear arms is enshrined in those two documents. Now, it's kind of hard to explain to people. It's not hard, but people have a hard time understanding that this was right at the time it was written, when there were, there was no, when the country was very lawless. It cannot be right today. There are things that just totally make no sense. There's a bill passed in Iowa in the state legislature that would make it legal for a child under 14 to use pistols and revolvers. I mean, what is this coming to? So in the name of the right to bear arms and the constitutional right to bear arms and the pursuit of happiness, of course, I would argue, and I'm sure our guest would agree, that there's also a constitutional right to protect ourselves and our children. That also has to be, enshrined in the Constitution.
No, completely. But Margot, I'm wondering with you out loud here, because I think, you know, the agenda of the people behind this initiative, first of its kind in the United States, and let's hope it resonates, is to put in more sensible laws, right? More sensible gun control laws. The argument against that would be from the people who, you know, support or the enshrined right of the right to bear arms would be that there could not be just one law, one all-encompassing law. So what is the thing that you're offering? I mean, you call them a deranged group of people that are the gun lobby, but they're very much in control. So what can be offered that can be maybe a midway to resolve this situation?
Well, one of the things Women Against Gun Violence is doing is focusing on gun safety. And we're different than the National Rifle Association in that we put the burden of gun safety on the adults. The NRA puts the burden of gun safety on children. What we want is for adults to follow safe gun practices and keep their guns locked up, unloaded, and stored separately from their ammunition. We believe that that could cut gun deaths in the United States by almost a third each year.
And that basically to be instituted as a law, that you, if you're an adult, you can buy a gun, and I'm asking you only if you just separate the ammunition from the gun in the house?
And you must have it locked up. Now, California already has laws like that. They're child access prevention laws, where you must keep your gun locked up securely, unloaded, separate from ammunition. Your child may not have access to your weapon, and if your child does have access to your weapon, there can be charges filed against you. Here in Los Angeles, that's already happening.
I mean, amen to that, but Ruthie, yeah.
I just want to make another point, and that is that, you know, that I think only 17 states in the Union are required by law that people have gun salesmen to demand background checks. Yeah. In other words, you can have a criminal record, you can be a stalker or a wife beater, and go out and buy a gun, you know, unimpaired in most of the states. That's another basic law that needs to come.
There's that famous scene from Bowling for Columbine, Michael Moore's movie, where a guy just opens a bank account and as a gift he gets a rifle.
Yeah, right. Yes,
things like
there's
that.
that too.
And that's the thing that I find
check.
so disheartening, because even gun control that maybe is instituted in some states, at the end of the day, try and sell that idea that Margot has, for example. I'm sorry, in the Bible Belt in the middle of America, where you will hear the arguments, and I've heard that said to you, Margot, that I'm sorry, if I'm hearing something outside my window, I'm not going to spend the time to get up from my bed, open the drawer, get the gun unlocked, etc.
That's the stand your ground laws.
Exactly.
Which says if you have a reasonable fear that somebody's going to attack you, you have the right to shoot.
To shoot him. But Margot, I want to commend you for being part of this initiative, and thank you for being with us this morning. And Ruthie Sinai, let's be hopeful. I'm being pessimistic. I'm sorry, but because I think it's very hard to.
It is. Even with a president in the House.
Yeah,
the White House,
separate boys with toys, as I call them. Ruthie Sinai locked with us in studio as we move into something completely different. It has nothing to do with guns and defense. But
wow,
yes,
that's an understatement.
The major understatement. But I'm glad I have another woman in the studio with me in this one.
Really?
Yes, because we need to dissect.
Well, okay.
Yes.
Someone broke the internet. This is amazing. The Vanity Fair cover is probably going to go down as one of the most amazing covers into the pantheon of amazing covers ever in magazines. Let's take a look. I think we have a picture of it before we even say names.
No, do not say a word.
Because the headline is "Call Me Caitlyn," and I think when people first saw this picture, they focused on the face of the person and didn't exactly know who they were talking about. This is Caitlyn Jenner, who once was known as Bruce Jenner.
I'm so happy. Wait. There's a tweet. I'm so happy after such a long after such a long struggle. There was a tweet from that. That was Bruce Jenner. Now Caitlyn with a C.
Jenner.
Yeah.
She went on a photo shoot with the amazing photographer Annie Leibovitz, who works for the Vanity Fair. And
before we continue, Ruthie, does she not look like Renee Russo? Renee Russo, actress, American actress. I was debating this last night.
Maybe.
Okay, I find the first. I mean, gorgeous. I hate the fact that her waist is thinner than mine. I just,
Yeah, but the shoulders.
Then the shoulders and that line, and I'm not even gonna.
There's a cleavage
I'm
there.
so happy after such a long struggle to be living my true self Welcome to the world, Caitlin. Can't wait for you to get to know her, me. Okay, I'll tell you one woman who was not happy yesterday.
Tell me, who is that?
Okay, one woman who was really, really upset, and I can say this, I know this. Diane Sawyer probably was very upset yesterday.
Think so?
Yeah, because Diane Sawyer did the whole interview, the coming out interview. Okay, now the internet was, Ami's right, the internet was broken yesterday.
Totally,
I had a very hectic day, but the one sliver moment that I opened my computer, all I saw was,
You know, by the way, before you go to that, even Barack Obama reacted. He said, it takes courage to share your story. He tweeted that because of this. Barack
Seriously?
Obama replied, yes.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah. But as you were going to say,
this is even bigger news than Kim Kardashian being pregnant.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. And as an American citizen, I will say he tweeted that. I want to see a tweet about gun control today. You know, it's
That'd
slightly,
be nice, wouldn't it?
slightly more important.
Slightly more important.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
But you were saying about Diane Sawyer.
No, Diane Sawyer probably because, you know, the big interview was given on ABC, okay? And it takes like weeks, years, and a lot of finagling to get an interview as such. But I'm sure that all the bookers at ABC wanted that interview to be with Caitlyn Jenner, sitting there in full gear. There were a lot of people probably that were going, Vanity Fair, get this, yeah. So, yeah.
Everybody's talking about that interview because they gave her compliments to Diane Sawyer, how professional she was.
Yes, and
they talked about the
amazing.
real issues, you know, the real important about transgenders. And
Who cares? Look at that
You see a
cover.
picture of
Look at that cover.
This is what people want to see. This is what people want to see.
that
Picture,
was
1,000 words. Have we said that before?
Yeah, yeah. But gorgeous. Listen, Caitlyn is gorgeous.
She's looking good.
She's looking good. She's looking good,
woman.
and it's definitely a Webby moment.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
I want to thank Ruthie for bringing up the Kardashians because we do have a Kardashian block. First of all, Caitlyn Jenner, and now the Kardashians, Kim Kardashian and Kanye West, announced yesterday that she is pregnant. She will have her second child.
Oh Lord!
Now, what's funny about this thing from BuzzFeed? The headline from BuzzFeed is kind of sad.
And it's going to be called East South. Okay. Yeah.
You see,
yeah.
That's it. See, everybody on the internet had the exact same
joke.
Everybody. There was not one person who just gave the joke that you just did. I think we have a few tweets that we can show.
Yes, please.
Of,
yes, everybody.
Everybody get ready for a Southeast.
Southeast. Kim Kardashian and Kanye West having a new seed. That's
because
horrific.
wait, did I mention that the first baby is named Northwest? Okay,
yes,
just to be clear. Okay,
clearly.
So this is Southeast, and everybody. I think the next tweet shows as well. If you don't name your new baby Southeast, I will be disappointed. And there were, I think, about 1 million tweets like that. I think we have one more. Reveal the pregnancy. Is Northwest sibling going to be named South or East?
Oh, for the love of God. I'm wondering what was more of an anticipation, this baby or Kate and Wells? You know?
That's a good question.
I'm wondering, you know, what ranks more? But we will be doing a special also about the next baby, I think, anchored by Ruthie.
I wonder if it's going to be baptized in Jerusalem like the first one was.
Right. We can expect another visit, another royal visit.
We will be bringing that live, definitely, from the Armenian Church. Okay.
Another from the Kardashian block.
From the Kardashian block.
This is from Mashable. I love Mashable. And there's a dog called Doug the Pug he's like a famous internet kind of thing. So Mashable took Doug the Pug and said, let's take some pics of Doug the Pug posing pretty similarly to Kim Kardashian because they took pictures from her selfie book. She has a book called Selfie. And this is, here's the first one.
Yes!
Here's another one with a tongue. Here's another one with
Brilliant!
I think we have a few more.
Oh, my word.
Wow.
I think the next one might be just my favorite.
Yeah, but where's the booty one?
Here we go. Look at them oranges.
Yes. Okay, no, wait. Best one, Ruthie, yet. Best one yet. Best one yet.
Yeah, okay. That's
and did they not manage to put, because I'm waiting for the pug and what was the thing where her behind?
With the champagne on
the champagne
that was the one that broke the internet.
That's the one that broke the internet,
I think they had some
exactly.
trouble balancing that.
Oh, that is phenomenal.
This is the best social statement I've seen on the
Kardashians.
Kardashians.
And the Kardashians for a very, 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 very long time. Folks, phenomenal stuff. One last one. Do we have time?
Have a quick one. Have you ever had trouble when you're texting and you bump into something? Let's take a look at this video. What happened to this guy when he was texting and what he stepped on.
Okay, let's have a quick look. Let's take a look. Do we have that video?
Do we have the video? Here we go. Okay. That is a snake that bit him in the leg.
I think, I'm sorry, but that is actually the best revenge ever.
Gosh, this looks interesting.
Yeah, that was the best revenge ever. Well, okay.
Oh, yeah, sorry, we jumped to that. That's the best customer service ever from Hooters. A waitress gave a kidney to one of her customers. I know we don't have time for...
We don't, and I don't know what's going on, but this would be all the time that we have. I-24, no, we're not finishing the show. This will be this segment when we get back, something entirely different. Do stay with us. First, the news. I-24 News Morning Edition, the place to be. It's the end of the show as we know it. Thought I would sing. Tal Shalev with me in studio, I-24 News diplomatic correspondent. Also, Amit Kling, known as the Unabomber. And
that again? Seriously?
That will be every single time. I'll get you a shirt. But we are going to start with beauty and brains before the Unabomber. So we're going to Tal Shalev with the politicians' Instagram, my favorite one of the whole week. Yes.
So we got a good one for you this week. A lot of two newcomers. The first one, Silvio Berlusconi. So the scandal-plagued former Italian prime minister opened an Instagram account. In more than 1 week, he got more than 31,000 followers. On the first day alone...
I would expect a bit more.
On the first, we can just browse through the pictures, and I'll say what we see. Okay. So on the first day alone, he posted more than 60 photos. He's kind of obsessed, but considering this is a man,
so sad in many ways. Okay,
it's like old guy can't operate social network.
This is a man who's 78 years old. So we have.
It is commendable.
Yeah. So we have a lot of photos. His favorite soccer team, Milan.
No, hold on.
He has photos. This is his girlfriend.
His
girlfriend, Francesca Pascale. He has a few.
How old is Francesca?
I think she's 29.
Yes.
We won't say anything.
Amit, we hate men.
He also posted. He's visiting museums and galleries. He has.
I'm not just shallow.
I don't think you're supposed to touch the paintings.
I don't care.
He's Berlusconi. He hasn't posted a photo of a Bonga Bonga party yet.
I was about to say. But where's one of his little dogs?
But exactly. There's one. I think the next one. Yeah, that is his dog. Doo-doo. Doo-doo.
Okay, I'm sorry. This is just words fail me.
I'm just saying that he opened the, that's him and Francesca again. He opened it.
That's before her curfew bedtime, yes.
He opened it ahead of Italy's regional elections last week. He was like, it's part of his attempt, his party, Forza Italia, to make a comeback. And actually, they had quite satisfying results. So
he's gonna be.
I'm giving it to Instagram, basically. No.
True. No.
Another newcomer, though. Okay. From across the Atlantic, Bernie Sanders.
Yes.
Hillary Clinton's contender, the independent senator from Vermont who's running for White House as Democrat. He joined last week just in time for Memorial Day. Yes. He is not doing so well. At the moment, he has just a bit more than 3,500 followers. It's not bad for a beginner, but it's not really great for someone who wants to be president.
Even Democrats around the world are like, did Bernie Sanders? Who?
But you know that according to a Pew Research that was conducted this year, from 70 up, only 6% of the population uses Instagram. And since he's 73, I think he's part of that 6%. So we're going to give it to Sanders. His first post was a video. Let's see what he had to say. Let's see.
You're the hero on okay. Thank you. Okay.
I almost asked which one of them is Bernie Sanders. But no,
so that was on Memorial Day. Then he posted. He's been posting a few photos.
What I love so much about Bernie Sanders, he knows he's not going to get the nominations.
Do you know he's been attracting like bigger crowds than any other candidate on both sides?
Really?
Yeah. It's amazing. He had a really successful weekend in Iowa, apparently. So
I'm all for it. I'll say this. I mean, I think he's an amazing guy.
He's very cute.
He's very cute. He speaks his mind. I believe him. Everybody says he doesn't have a chance. Maybe that'll be the surprise.
So he posted a photo of a rally, but then he posted another interesting photo of Throwback Thursday to 1983 to his Senate campaign.
Where he's only 60.
Here we see. And the caption is, Sanders' campaign energizes thousands of new voters, sets record for voter turnout, expect more of the same, Bernie 2016. So let's hope that he gets more of the same.
Very cute.
But someone who
maybe he needs a poodle. Okay.
Yeah. So those were two new accounts. Another story that was shocking the Instagram arena this week was had to do with the former Iranian revolutionary leader Ayatollah Khomeini. Instagram blocked an account set up in memory. So That was yesterday. According to the Iran's Fars news agency, the account was established to in memory of the deceased leader, and it was the purpose was to release unseen photos. But Instagram announced via email that it's going to deactivate the account, not really giving an explanation. Apparently, Instagram does not allow accounts in the name of deceased peoples unless they're registered as memorial accounts. So those behind the account were like pressuring Instagram, and they were protesting the move. And I have good news. Just this morning, it's up. So we don't have a photo of it up, but it is up. So yes.
So I will be able to see unpublished, never before seen pictures of the Ayatollah.
I'm so relieved.
I know that's the first thing you'll be doing when you leave the studio.
That's a load off.
That's a load off because I couldn't sleep. Yes.
Yes, and last but not least.
Never.
Who's the Commander-in-Chief of the United States?
The President.
Yes. So now we have also a Hugger-in-Chief. The First Lady has a new job title. Our favorite Instagram user, Pete Souza, the official White House photographer.
Pete's waiting here patiently.
He posted a series of photos last week, noting that Obama enjoys hugging almost anyone she meets since day one. This is a quote: "Whether it's a school child, a family member in peril, a surprise tourist, or even a famous person, the First Lady greets them with a hug." So this is Michelle.
Yeah, Michelle hugging. This is Michelle hugging kids.
Another Michelle hugging. I like the concept of Hugger-in-Chief. I think it's really cute.
I think it's cute. I have to say what it brings to mind. It brings something to mind, and it's very bizarre. I mean, I love Michelle Obama. She's assumed the role of First Lady in a great way, but also in a way that is expected of a woman. I'm sorry to say it, because when Hillary Clinton was First Lady, she didn't hug anybody. She tried to have initiatives that really went against Republican ideas. I think that's beautiful, but it's also kind of expected of the chick. That's just my thing. You're about to kill me.
I don't know. I suggest we have.
I'm not getting into this.
First of all, I don't remember when we said that it's okay to have to say bad things about Michelle Obama in the studio. I think the studio is only good remarks on Michelle. But we can have a thorough discussion about the First Lady and her responsibilities.
And the roles. Yeah. No. And that was just,
excuse me.
Yes. No, but because you're moving.
I'm excited.
You're excited. Yeah. It's like you moved emotionally. But we shall have a special on that. That said, it is the time to move to the Unabomber. Amit Kling here for the Tube magazine, Anything and Everything Tech, which I never would have guessed from looking at you.
Why? Because
I don't know.
Are scissors tech?
Well,
they are.
I'm saying this completely sarcastically.
Tech.
Shoot. Yes.
Okay. So, biggest thing pretty much this week is that the Senate did not pass a replacement for the Patriot Act.
Right.
The so-called USA Freedom Act, which is just, don't you love those very symbolic names they always give them?
We're going to invade a country and we'll call it Operation Enduring Freedom. We're going to spy on you and we're going to call it the Freedom Act.
It had divided the Senate.
Yeah.
And they couldn't pass a replacement, so currently some surveillance initiatives are broken. I gather there's a report, so...
Let's take a look.
Yeah.
For nearly 24 hours now, the program that gathers and searches Americans' phone records has been shut down. The bulk data program, revealed by former NSA contractor Edward Snowden, one of some of the provisions of the Patriot Act which expired. But law enforcement tonight is more worried about other parts, which they say leave them partially blind.
So I'm left looking for needles in a haystack where the needles are increasingly invisible to me.
Expired. Roving wiretaps, which allow law enforcement to follow a terrorist and not just on one phone. If a suspect changes phones even multiple times, the tracking continues. Expired. Lone wolf tracking. Investigators could track a suspect without a subpoena. Now they will have to go to court for each case.
And if I lose those tools, it is a huge problem.
In other words, I must know everything and anything you do.
First of all, James Comey, FBI director, this is not true. I mean, you can still...
As spoken by the Unabomber.
Now, you are not helping me to make my case here. You're not helping.
This is not true, yes.
No, but seriously, this is not true because most of this, what this means for the government is just more paperwork for all of it.
Right.
Now, they were talking about that lone wolf that they could be tracking somebody suspected of not belonging to a terrorist organization without a subpoena. That has never been used. That's just there. I mean, and they're using it It sounds very dramatic, but it's never been actually activated.
Intel that has not proven to basically be helpful. It is Intel
of course, to say nothing of the bulk data collection, which is a scandal.
Ridiculous. But, the fact that I think, you know, if they revert back to the days where intelligence communities actually used real people to gather intelligence rather than spying. Yeah, but you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, America, home of the brave, land of the free, but.
Yes.
And of Michelle Obama.
And I was about
just
to say,
saying.
But
and of
Michelle Obama and hugs.
And hugs. Of course.
Yes.
All right. Moving on to this is a pretty complicated story. Ross Ulbricht, who founded Silk Road, which is as we know, this is the online deep web marketplace.
Oh my God! They put him in jail for life. I know what you're talking about.
They put him in jail for life, which is an insane sentence, because this is a man who was not he did not himself actually traffic any drugs. Now, I'm not saying he's a clean guy, obviously. I'm not. But to jail him under what is considered the kingpin sentence, like to treat him as pretty much a Pablo Escobar figure, this is not true. This is... I mean, there's a statement from the lawyer, which we can see.
Let's hear his lawyer. Okay, let's first hear the lawyer.
Yeah.
This sentence is anything more than just purely punitive and completely beyond the range of what drug offenders get in this district, in this circuit, in this country.
Well, Ross was crying during his statement. You know, he's looking at his life being destroyed. Nothing but a positive influence. He's totally nonviolent. And to put him in a maximum security penitentiary, I fear for his safety. I fear for his life.
Listen, it's fascinating. I'm reminding viewers, audiences, we're not Intel. Ross Ulbricht, you know the story?
Yeah.
And he had this,
he made this like
website
sort of an eBay, for everything, an anonymous eBay, completely unmonitored, and people sold their
drugs. People sold
mostly drugs. Yes.
Weapons too. Weapons.
I'm not sure. It's likely.
Yeah.
It's likely that some weapons.
But a huge amount of drugs.
The problem with
and he knew that was happening.
Yes, but the problem with Ulbricht and with in general the problem with online crimes
and how to police them
is that they often because it's happening in a virtual state. There's a certain I think, distance of the perpetrator from the crime, which creates a sort of a weird moral gray area.
But that's why a sentence as such, as the lawyer of Ulbricht just mentioned, and you can disagree or agree with it. I don't even have an opinion about this right now. Is that one needs to somehow, in many ways, it's an extra punitive sentence to try and dissuade others from doing it.
You know, hackers have been creating this world, this other world, which has its own laws, and it has its own gray areas and its own moral center, so to speak.
Right, but it's not. I think time will tell with the web again where it will lead us, how to police it, who controls it.
I think there's still a
other than Zuckerberg.
It's just not the same as as selling drugs, shooting a guy. It's not the same kind of crime.
Can you? Okay, but it does make one furious. I'm okay. That Kung Fury. What is Kung Fury?
Okay, here's a fun one for a change.
Yippee.
Guy named David Sandberg, a Swedish filmmaker who is a huge fanatic of 80s action movies, and how
could you not be?
In their whole, over the top. I grew up on this stuff, obviously.
Put Stallone in every movie.
Yeah,
yes.
He made a Kickstarter to create the 80s action comedy ever.
Okay.
And of course, it has a kung fu fighting cop.
We have a trailer. This can only
with a Triceratops partner.
Amen.
Who are both fighting a time-traveling Adolf Hitler known as Kung Führer.
Oh God! Okay, trailer. Trailer.
This
killed him.
This is a bird-flipping, conscious arcade machine.
Arcade machine. But
what's amazing about this? Looks really good, right? Visually,
it's
crummy. It's intentional.
I'm thinking about how to reinstate the most 80s chick flick. That's a good thing.
Just
that's a good
kickstart that
I
one.
will.
Kickstart that one. No, but seriously, the point is, it's...
Wait, I have one. I'm sorry.
Yes.
A film where all the characters wear the same earrings that match the pom-poms in their socks. Okay.
And with a lot of Molly Ringwald.
Bingo.
This whole thing is on green screen.
It's
completely.
Everything.
Everything, because that's how they did it on a budget.
For all of us here in the studio, the 80s rule, we wish we could go back. That would be it for I-24 News Morning Edition this day. Of course, check us out on all those social networks, Facebook, Twitter, whatnot, and tune in tomorrow morning for another edition. And Instagram, because Tal Shalev lives there. Okay. For her. And tune in tomorrow morning. Thank you.